Hello and welcome to today's tutorial of data entry of a second information module, that is our school infrastructure information for the school data operator. In order to begin with the process, open your preferred browser. It can be Chrome, it can be Mozilla Firefox. I'm going with Mozilla Firefox. Once the browser opens in the top URL section of the preferred browser, enter the website of the EMMIS, that is Education Management and Monitoring Information System, which is emmis.sikkimedutech.in, and click on search. A landing page of EMMIS will appear, as you can see on the screen, wherein you'll get to find 4 menus in the top bar, which are basically Home, Schools, GIS, Login. Alongside, you'll also have the Get Started link, and we have the badging of the Education Management and Monitoring Information System. In our home page, or the landing page, we have About Us section and some data regarding the registration of the school, employees and students in the portal. Moving directly with the module, in order to start with the data entry process, you're required to log in. So in order to log in, you can click on Login or Get Started. I'm going with Get Started. So on clicking the option, a login page will open up. We have the badging of Education Management and Monitoring Information System. Under that, we have Sign in to continue, username, password, captcha, sign in, getting started, and forgot password. For username and password, you are required to register onto the EMMIS portal. So if you haven't registered yet, you can go through this manual of getting started, or you can view our previous tutorial on getting registered. If you have registered, then your username will be the email of which your account has been registered. So if you're a school admin, your username will be the school admin's registered email. If it's the school operator, your username shall be the school operator's email. Since we are logging in as school operator, so I will be entering my operator's login credentials and my password. Your password is the one that has been sent to your mail during the verification process, so you can enter the same default password if you haven't changed it. You're required to enter the captcha next. Please ensure that no space are between the letters while entering the captcha. Once you've entered all the credentials in the login page, you can click on Sign In. Once signed in, the dashboard of my school will open up, as you can see on the screen, where I will be able to see my school name on the top left corner of the screen, Test School Sikkim. We have the dashboard, and in the top right corner, the role with which we are logged into the EMMIS application. So currently, I'm logged in as school operator as shown in the dashboard itself. Previously, we had configured the school information module. As you can see, we have about 91% completion, and we have sent the details for verification. In today's module, we look into the data entry process of infrastructure information. So we will be directly beginning with the module. Currently, the infrastructure information module is shown as 0%, which means no data has been entered up until yet. So now we are required to enter the data. In order to initiate the process, you can move towards the top left-hand side menu bar, as you can see we have done for school. To go through the infrastructure modules, click on the option to expand numerous sub-modules, as you can see. Land details, building details, room details, water details, and so on. We are required to enter all these details, so we will enter them one by one. Starting with the land details, click on Land Details and you'll find a red status icon, which means that the data has not been configured. To configure the data, proceed with the Land Details page. You can see the link here, Land Details, and it asks me whether I have land for school or not. So if your school owns the land it's built on, click on Has Land Details. And if some schools, even the private ones, do not own the land, they can click on Do Not Have Land. In this demo, we will consider the first option for Test School, so I'll click on Has Land Details. The status has changed to Has Land Details, and hereby I'm required to enter my plot details. I'll be clicking on this plus icon to do that, which is new plot. The website redirects the user to a page where required details such as plot name and others can be filled in. You can enter the plot name according to your respective school's official document. Area in hectares. You're required to enter the area value in hectares, Khasra number and Khatia number. We are entering a demo value for test school. Revenue block, your block name so I can enter gauging. Boundary wall, whether the boundary wall of your land is pakka, barbed wire, fence, pakka but not broken, boundary wall not broken, partial, under construction. So you can choose from any of the following. So if there is no boundary wall, you can click on no boundary wall. Land registered or not, under the Department of Education. If your land is under the Government Department of Education, you can click on yes. If not, you can click on no. I will be selecting yes for test school. The next parameter is land available for expansion. Click on yes. If not, you can leave it as it is. Now you will be required to upload the land document. Click on browse and locate where the document is. I am uploading a demo image, and once I upload the image, I can click on save. Once saved, the record will be saved in the system, and as you can see in the left hand side, the status bar, the land details icon which was red, has changed to yellow, which means the data has been configured and submitted to the school admin for the verification process. And as you can see, the name of the plot, plot number, Khasra number, Khatia number has appeared on the screen. If there are any updates that are required, then you can go to the update and edit section and update the further details. You can also add further details by selecting new plot and proceeding with the similar steps that we followed for the land details. Now that our land details has been configured, we move to the dashboard and the infrastructure module has been completed by 5%. Similarly, we can configure various other details such as building details and so on. We will configure them one by one. Moving with building details, you will be required to add building details in the section, so start by entering the name of the building. Some schools have provided some kind of name to the building, for example Block A, Block B, Block C, or they are divided into the Science Block, Commerce Block, Arts Block, so you can provide them if they exist in your school. I will enter Block A, or I can just write Science Block, as it can exist for a test school. This way, you can detail building name, description. Next, there is the building type, which can range from Pakka building, under construction, partially Pakka, Kacha, so provide those details. I'm going with Pakka building. Building status, whether private, rented, government, or rented. So I'll be choosing government. If your school is private, select private or rented, or any of the options that is applicable to your school. For test school, I will be going for government. Year of construction of your building. Year of construction of your building, which would be 2015 for test school. It can be any year according to your school history. Plinth area in square meters, I will enter 300 or 450 square meters. Number of floors, it could be 2 floors for test school, is main building. If the particular block is main building, wherein the principal's offices are housed in the same block, you can select main building. If not, you can provide the details of those blocks which is considered to be the main building. I'll be choosing yes for test school. Number of small-sized rooms. Now these details are according to the CBSE guidelines, so you have to enter the details of rooms which has area less than 400 square meters. I'm entering for test school, but you may have none or more according to your school. Number of medium-sized rooms in your school, 5, and large-sized rooms, 2. Therefore, this way, you can configure the data. Is electricity available? If your school has electricity fluctuations and various sort of things, you can provide the details according to the available options. Yes, but not functional. No. Yes. I'm selecting yes for test school. Number of ceiling fans. If your school has ceiling fans, you can provide the details. If no, you can enter 0. Building has multiple entry-exit points. If your entry and exit points are 2 different points, then you select yes. So I will be entering yes. Building has ramp access. If there is ramp access for any CWSN kids, you can select yes. If no, you can leave it as it is. I will be selecting no. Photo. You're required to enter the photo of the particular building. Click on Building, Image, and choose the particular image. Once you've chosen the image, you will be able to crop it and upload the image, so you can also do it for the other two. Once you've done that, you can upload the other 2 images. Once all the images for the particular building are uploaded, click on Save. The save details will be entered in the records and will appear in the Buildings menu. As you can see on the left-hand side of the Buildings icon, the badge has changed into yellow, which means that the data has been configured but has not been verified. Move towards the dashboard, where 11% of the data has been configured. We can proceed with the details for room details, water details, washroom details, and many more to get closer to completion. We will move to room details and configure the details. In order to configure room details, click on it and a page shall open wherein you will be able to enter all the details in the format. We have the number of male restrooms, so you can enter the number of male restrooms, female restroom details of classrooms available in school, number of classrooms under construction, 0, number of classrooms in dilapidated condition, 0, total number of rooms excluding classrooms, wherein the room is excluded from the classroom, 6, number of classroom used for instructional purpose by stage level for pre-primary. How many classes are there? So I'm going with 4 classes for test school. For primary, how many are there? About 6 classes. Upper primary, 4. A reminder that these are figures for demo with our fictitious school, which you would remember as test school. For secondary, I'm adding 2. High secondary, 0, since test school is a secondary school. Number of classrooms by condition. How many classrooms are in good condition? Need major repairment or require minor repairment, so add the appropriate values. For partial pakka, need minor repairment, you can give some value out there. So if not applicable, you can leave this section as of now. Now we have another module section, that is Other Room Details. In Other Room Details, you're required to provide the room details of the head teachers and principals. So if the principals and teachers have separate rooms, you can give it as yes. If not, leave it as it is. In this case, it is yes. Is toilet attached in the head teacher principal's room? If applicable, click yes. If not applicable, you can leave it as it is. In my case, it is yes, so I will be entering yes. Has separate room for vice principal. You can provide these details as well. The number of girls' common rooms. So how many girls' common rooms are there in your school? There's about 1 common room for girls at test school, so I'll be configuring that. Number of staff rooms. You can provide the details of the staff room for male and female. 2 for test school. If just 1, you can enter the value as 1. Number of arts and crafts room. If there is any separate room created for arts and crafts, you can give it a value. If not, you can leave it as it is. Once you've entered all the details, click on Save. Once saved, a successful message is displayed in the top right corner, where you will be able to see that the school room details has been saved, and moreover, the badging of room details has changed to yellow, which means the area of details has been entered and needs verification. Move to the dashboard section, where the 11% completion has just increased to 17%, so we can move forward with water details. In water details, you will be required to enter the details of water sources, as you can see, whether drinking water is available in the school premises or not. So if yes, you can click on yes, main source of drinking water, and provide details, so total number of hand pumps. If there are no hand pumps, you can leave it as it is. Number of functional hand pumps. Leave it as it is if your school has none. Protected wells. You can leave it too, since there are no wells in this region, unless your school does have a well. So these are all the formats that have been taken from UDISC that you can provide it where applicable. Total number of tap water, 5 for test school. Number of functional tap waters, 4 for test school. How many of them are functional? Non-functional. You can provide the details. Whether packaged bottled water available. Whether packaged bottled water functional. No for test school. Whether other water sources available. So if there is any other sources of water in your school, you can provide it as yes. If not, you can leave it as it is. So same for water source functional. Now you're required to enter the name of other source if applicable. So in test school, there is no other water resources and sources of water, so I'm leaving it blank. If applicable, you can provide the name of your source. Total number of RO purifiers. If there is any provision for RO purifiers in school, you can give the value. In the case of test school, it is 2. Functional, both are functional, right? Whether water quality tested from water testing lab. If not tested, you can provide it as no. If tested, you can provide it as yes. But since in test school, it has not been, so I'll be clicking on no. Does school have provision for rainwater harvesting? So if your school is conducting some sort of rainwater harvesting in the school premises, you can provide it as the value, providing it as yes. If no, you can provide it as no. But if you have initiated the process of rainwater harvesting, but is currently non-functional, you can provide the detail as well. In this case, it would be yes. Number of hand washing points with soap bar and after meal, 5 for test school. Water source and shortage. Source of water. So you're required to enter the source of water, whether it is PHE, RDD, spring water, natural wells. I will be entering PHE. Does have tank for water storage. So if your school has some sort of constructed tank as a location to store water, you can provide it as yes. Concrete tanks. How many concrete tanks are there? So you can provide that detail. 2 concrete tanks. No metal tanks. PVC tank. 2. You can provide those details. Now you're required to enter the functionality of the taps that you entered earlier. So number of functional taps, as I had mentioned, 4, right? Number of non-functional taps could be 1. Number of taps for drinking, I could give that as 4 as well. Number of taps for washing, that would be 2. So any values that is applicable to your school, you can enter those values. Number of taps for washing and drinking. If there is any tap that is used for both the purposes of washing hands and drinking, you can give that value. So there are 2 separate things that you have already entered, so you're not required to enter that detail. Once you've entered the detail, you can click on save. So again, once you click on save, your record will be entered and saved, as you can see on the screen of water details. The badging has changed into yellow. Moving with washroom details. Enter the details regarding the washroom of staff, washroom of students, urinal facilities in school, and many more. Number of staff washroom for female, 1, 1 for male, or whichever is applicable. If there is common, you can provide the details. Number of toilet seats available, excluding CWSN friendly toilets. So we are required to enter the number of washrooms or toilets for boys and girls separately. Total number of washrooms. So I will be giving 2. Functional with running water. If the toilets are functional with running water, you can mention the number of toilets and washrooms functional with running water. This would definitely be 0 because we have already entered the total value out there. Same goes for girls as well, so this would be 2. Number of CWSN friendly toilets. If your school is CWSN friendly, you can provide the details. Since test school is not CWSN friendly as of now, the details are skipped. Number of urinals available. This is specifically urinal purpose washroom. For boys, how many urinals are there? So 6, which are functional with running water. This would be 3, and not functional with running water. So in total, we've got 6. So girls total, it would be 6. Functional would be 4, and not functional with running water would be 2. Similarly, you can enter the details which are applicable to your own school. So other details is changing room available for girls. If there are any changing rooms available for girls, you can provide it as yes. If no, you can provide it as no. Is hand washing facility with soap available? So hand washing facility with soap, you can provide it as yes. Whether incinerator available in girls' toilet, so if there are any incinerators available, you can provide it as yes. If not, you can provide it as no. Once you enter these details, you can click on save. As soon as you save, your details will be recorded. Similarly, we will move to the electricity details. With electricity details, you're required to enter the electricity status in your school. So we will configure the electricity details, as you can see. First, we have electricity status. In electricity status, you're required to provide the status of electricity, whether electricity status is yes, so you can provide the details. So for test school, it is yes. Number of installed solar panel units. If your school has installed some sort of solar panel units in your school, you can provide the detail as yes. If no, you can provide the details as 0. Functional solar panel units, 0. Total capacity, 0, since there are no solar panels installed at test school. But if installed in your school, you can provide the value. Click on save, and your electricity details will be saved and configured. Next up is furniture details. With the furniture details, you will be required to enter the details of desk, benches, tables in classrooms and staff rooms, and many other offices and rooms as well. Number of 3-seater desk bench. Total number of 3-seater desk bench in test school. You will be required to enter the detail as it applies to your school. So this would basically be according to the number of enrollment and various other things and the current scenario. So I will be giving as 80. Number of 2-seater desk bench, you can provide as 50. Number of 1-seater desk bench, you can provide it as 60. Number of teachers' tables in classroom, since we have grades from nursery, LKG, UKG up to class 10 at test school, so I will enter 12 number of teachers' tables in classroom. Choose what's applicable to your specific school. Also number of teachers' chairs in classrooms. So based on that, you can enter the details. Number of tables in staff room. So how many tables are there in your staff room? Number of chairs in staff room. How many chairs? So I can provide it as 40. Is table for head teacher, principal available? Yes. Is chair for head teacher, principal available? So you can provide the details. Number of school head, principal, almirah. How many almirahs are there in the particular office of the principal? Provide those details. I'll be entering 3. And number of school office almirah. The total number of almirah for school office. So this would be 12, out of which 3 is for the school head or the principal of the school. So once I enter all these details and click save, the details will be saved. And as you can see on the furniture details section, there is a yellow badging appearing, which means that the data has been configured. We'll proceed with the library details. Click on library and a page for library details will open. First, enter the library details if applicable. In many primary schools, there is no library facility. So in that case, you can just leave the section. You can only enter the details if it is applicable to your school. So number of libraries. Since test school has 1 library, so I'll be configuring that. Total area in square meters, I'll be entering 10. Total number of books, about 100. Total number of books from NCERT. How many books have you got in the library from NCERT? You can provide the detail. I'll be going with 30. Does the library have internet facility? No. If applicable, you can provide it as yes. It is no for test school. Does library has library software installed? So if installed, you can input it as yes. If not, you can leave it as it is. Number of dailies, so you're required to enter the number of dailies. Number of periodicals, number of library resources, number of reference books, how many dailies are there, all the sort of details. All that is required to be entered. So the number of resources is 20 for test school. Does library have full-time librarian? In that case, you can provide the detail as yes. If not, you can leave it as it is. Does library have full-time clerk? No, since it is a small library, hence there is no clerk working full-time at test school. Designated teacher for that section. Number of wooden bookshelves fixed. Books that are fixed in the library itself. So how many shelves are there? 2. So I will be entering 2. Number of wooden bookshelves movable. So how many movable bookshelves? 1. Number of steel bookshelves? 0. If there are, enter the number of other bookshelves. Number of almirahs. How many almirahs are there? Providing it as 1. Number of study tables. Providing it as 6. Number of chairs, 40. This is the details section for book bank details. Number of book bank, if applicable, you can provide the details. If not, you can leave it as it is. So there is no book bank in test school, so I'm skipping this section. Reading corner details. If there are any reading corners in your schools, then you can provide the details. What have we come to discover is that primary schools do not have reading corners in their schools. In that case, you can enter the details. But we have reading corners for test school, so we'll be considering that and moving with entering the details. Therefore, number of reading corners, 1. Number of books, about 40. Number of wooden bookshelves fixed, 0. Number of wooden bookshelves movable, 1. Number of steel bookshelves, so you can enter the details. Number of other bookshelves. If it's applicable, you can provide the details. Number of almirahs. If the number is 1, provide the detail as 1. If not, you can leave it as it is. Number of study tables. How many study tables are there in the reading corner? Number of chairs, 20. Save all the details once you are done, and clicking the infrastructure information, you can see that the library details has been configured and it's ready for the verification process. Move to the dashboard, where you can find about 47% of the infrastructure module has been configured. Following library details is the ICT details. Enter the details of the ICT facility in your school. Is CEL lab available in your school? Provide it as yes, if applicable. If not, you can leave it as it is. If ICT lab is available in your school, that is Information Communication Technology Lab, you can provide it as yes. If not, you can leave it as it is. So in this case, it's yes. Year of implementation, 2018. ICT lab functional or not? At test school, it is functional, so I will be clicking on yes. ICT model implementation, whether it is POT model or any others, so I'll be clicking on POT model. Type of ICT instructor. The job basis of the ICT instructor is required to be entered, which can be full-time, part-time, not available. Test school has a full-time ICT instructor, so I'll be entering full-time. Whether ICT tools based for learning. If yes, you can provide the details. If not, you can provide it as no. Number of lesson hours per week. How many lesson hours per week is being taught through the ICT tools based learning module, so you can enter the details. So at test school, we do it for the junior section and the senior section or the secondary section, about 25 hours per week. Number of digital classrooms. If there are any digital classrooms, you can enter those details. Number of computers in lab. Enter number of computers that is in your lab. So I'll be entering 15 computers are there. Does school have web servers? Applicable, you can give it as yes. If no, you can leave it as it is. Is school Wi-Fi enabled? If your school has Wi-Fi facility, you can provide it as yes. If not, you can leave it as it is. Does school have provision for web-based learning? If there is any such provision, you can provide it as yes. Else, you can provide it as no. For test school, it is no. Enter or click on save. A success message will again appear and the details will be recorded in the system. Once you click on it, you will find that the ICT details has been configured, as we can see that the color or the badging has been changed from red to yellow, which means that the data has been configured and is required verification from the concerned school admin. Now you will find 52% configuration of the infrastructure information on the school dashboard. Now, we will move on with the other module. Hostel buildings, staff buildings, playgrounds, and so on, and try to complete the concerned modules. Moving on with hostel building, as I click on it, I'll have two options, whether has hostel building or does not have hostel building. If your school has hostel building, you can go for has hostel building. If your school doesn't have one, you can just click on this. Test school does have a hostel building, so I will be clicking on this one. Clicking on it will add the building details when you click on the plus building, which is adding the new building option. After I click on it, I'll be redirected to an add hostel page, wherein there is an option to add further details. There is the building name, description, building type, building status, and numerous other details, so we will be adding these details. The hostel building name is given as Hostel Building A on the screen here, but if any names are designated to a particular building in your specific school, that name can be given. We have Hostel Building A for test school. Description, Boys Hostel. Next, we have the building type. Whether it's Pakka, under construction, partially Pakka, these sort of details can be configured, so we have Pakka building. Building status, we can give it as rented, private, or any other. Since we are considering a government facility, the details are provided as government. But if you are running a private school under a private management, you can provide the detail as private or rented. I've selected government for test school, year of construction, 2019. Give the year that is specific to you. Plinth area in square meters, 500 square meters. We have number of floors, how many floors are there? I can give it as 3. Hostel for boys, as we have mentioned in this description. Hostel capacity, 50. Name of the warden can be given as well, which would be applicable per academic session. Warden A, a temporary name as Warden A, the number of the warden. Is water connection available in the building or not? So you can choose one. I'll be choosing yes. Is electricity available or not? If available, you can go for yes. If not, click no. In this case, I will be going with yes. Number of beds. How many beds are there? So I'll be choosing 50 beds. Or you can choose a little more, which is specific to your school. So I'll be choosing 55. Number of study tables. I'll be choosing about 30. Number of chairs, 55. Number of toilets. How many toilets are there in the building itself? So you can provide that number. I'll be giving 6. Number of urinals. I'm thinking 10. This way, you can configure the hostel building details and click on Save for the specific hostel building details to be saved. And the configuration badge or the status badge to change to yellow mark, which indicates that the data has been configured and is now awaiting verification. Similarly, we can add a staff building. On clicking staff building, you'll have again the option to choose whether your school has facility for staff quarter. You can click on Has Staff Quarter Building if your school has such facility. If it does not, you can select Does Not Have. I'll be choosing Does Not Have. As soon as this option, Does Not Have, is selected, you can see that the staff building has been configured and converted to yellow, implying the data does not need to be entered because the specific school has no staff building. So that can be done. However, if you had staff quarter building facility which you were not aware of and hence forgot to enter it, or some staff building comes up in the future, you can always change the status by clicking on this button. Moving on with further modules, click on Playground, and once the section opens, you can select whether there is a playground in your school or not. So I'll be going with Has Playground and enter the details of the specific playground by clicking New Playground. In the details, I'll be entering the playground name, so it would be Test Playground, and playground type that asks what sort of playground is in your specific school, whether it's meant for football, basketball, volleyball, any sort of sports can be mentioned. I'll be mentioning football, and area in square meters, I'll be choosing 225. Distance from the main building, which asks what is the distance from the main building to the ground and how many meters. So it's been asked in meters. I can write about 100 meters away. Is available for extension. If the playground is available for extension, you can provide the detail as yes. If not, you can provide it as no. Click on it to extend. I can also add the photos of the playground in the section, as you can see. Photo 1, Photo 2, Photo 3. I'll be choosing one photo for each of our playground and add it with the details. I'll be choosing this demo image for the process and clicking on Upload. You can simply add one photo and click on Save, or you can add 3 photos. Once I add all these photos and click on Save, the data for playground will be saved into the system, as you can see on the screen. So area 225 square meters, distance from the main building is 100 meters, as we configured. If there are any other playgrounds in your school, you can add the playground details by clicking Add New Playground. As we move to the dashboard, the configuration percentage of the infrastructure module has hit about 70%. As we move downwards a playground, the status has changed to yellow. Likewise, we will move with auditoriums. If your school has auditorium facilities, you can select yes. If not, and your school does not have auditoriums, select no. I will be choosing Has Auditoriums, so if you go with this option, you can add the details of the auditoriums. The auditorium name must be entered if you had selected yes. For the demo, the name given on screen, as you can see, School Auditorium, is the name of the auditorium at test school. Area in square meters, given it is 400, or it could even be 600, whichever number is specific to your school's auditorium size, enter that. You can also upload the photo. In order to upload the photo, you can choose a particular file from your PC and upload it. I'll be using this demo photo to upload and demonstrate how we can upload the photo for auditorium. Once all this is done, click on Save to enter the data, and as you see, the auditorium status configuration is changed to yellow, which means the data has been added. Similarly, we'll move on with laboratories. Once you click on it, you'll have 2 options, whether the school has lab or not. If your school has a lab, you can select this option. If it does not, the red one is preferably your bet. Once I click on Has Lab, I can add the details as follows. Lab type name. So what type of labs? Whether physics lab, biology, composite, chemistry, mathematics, home science. So I'll be going with physics lab. Total area would be 100 square meters. Number of separate rooms. If there are separate rooms, you can elaborate on these details. If there are no separate rooms, 0. Current condition, fully equipped, partially equipped, not equipped. The physics lab with the lab equipments at test school is partially equipped, so the partially equipped description is selected, and by clicking the Save button, the data is configured as you can see. Now the red badging out here, besides this physics option, means unverified labs, so this needs to be verified by the school admin. Now we will be proceeding again to the other modules. Since you are able to see that the lab facilities, the status of the lab facility has also changed to yellow, we can move towards the equipments. After clicking on it, I can choose Has Equipment and add new equipment. What would be the equipment? Science kit, biometric device, so you can add both the details one by one. So science kit for this demo. Availability status, yes. Total number of unit, how many units have been provided to the school? I can choose 2. Number of functional units, 2. Once I click on Save, the data will be configured. I can also add a new equipment like biometric device. Availability status, yes, but not functional, or no, or back to yes. I'll be choosing yes. Number of units, functional number of units, I'll be going with 3. If one is not functional, you can specify on the available section. Click on Save for the data to be saved for both the components, biometric device and science kit, as in this demo. As you move towards the infrastructure section, you'll be able to see that the equipment's badging has also changed to yellow. Now we will be moving to computer items and click on Has Computer Items. If your school does not have one, you can always go with Does Not Have Computer Items. So Has Computer Items and add new computer items. To add the equipment name, desktop availability status, yes. Total number of units, which would be 15. Functional would be 14. When you're all done, click on Save, and the data will be saved and sent to the school admin for the verification process. Now as we move across the infrastructure information, we will come across the final module or the submodule of the infrastructure information module, which is sports and other facilities. Click on sports and other facilities to open up the data sheet or the format wherein you'll be able to configure the details for the particular section, where the playground facility is available or not. You can choose yes if there is such a facility available at your school, whether the school has made adequate arrangements for children to play outdoor games, physical activities, and adjoining playgrounds, municipal park, etc. If there are such features, facilities, you can select yes. Whether the school has indoor game facilities. If the school has indoor game facilities like chess, indoor badminton, or any other sort of games like table tennis and others, you can provide it as yes. If not, no. I'll be choosing yes. Whether school has sports facilities. If your schools have sports facilities, you can choose yes, which also applies in the case of test school, where the school has music dance facilities, so if that is applicable to your school, you can go for yes. It is no for test school since there are no such facilities. Where the school has gymnasium, no. Where the school has swimming pool, no. Where the school has mandatory sports games period from classes 1 to 12 every day, so you can choose that as yes if there are the mandatory sports measures described above. Number of canteens. How many canteens are there at test school? There is no canteen, so I'll be entering no. Total number of canteen staff, 0. Number of lifts, elevators, 0. If your school has lifts or elevators, you can enter a value. Does the school have a strong room? If there is any sort of strong room in your school, you can provide the details. Does the school have clinic facility? If your school has some sort of clinic facilities with provision for nurses and doctors for your specific school, you can go with yes. If not, leave it as it is. That is no. Are health and hygiene toilets on all the floors separate for the staff, ramps, signboards, etc. being maintained properly? So if the washrooms are being maintained properly for each and every category, that is for the staff as well as the students, and the ramps, signboards, etc. are also maintained on a regular basis, you can provide it as yes. Is the school infrastructure being used for any commercial activity? Pretty self-explanatory. If any of the school's infrastructure is being used for commercial activity, you can provide it as yes. If not, you can leave it as it is. Whether the school has mandatory art education from 1 to 10, 2 periods a day. If in your school there is such provision for art class, select yes. The school does not offer the mandatory art education for 2 periods a day, so we will be moving on with no. Sports facilities. We can choose what sort of sports facility are being provided in the school, so I'll be selecting football, table tennis and chess. Click on the options and you can see the number of sports offered to you to select from the list. On saving, a message appears that your sports and other sport facilities details has been saved. Now as you can see, all the modules in our infrastructure information has been covered. So moving to the dashboard, the infrastructure information has been configured 100%. Therefore, this was all about configuration module for infrastructure, and since we've added all the details for the infrastructure modules, as you can see here, all the badging for the modules are being displayed as yellow. This data will be sent to the school admin for verification. The verification process will be covered in the upcoming tutorials. In the next module, we will discuss and showcase how you can go through the data entry process for the session information for the school operator. Thank you for watching and hoping this tutorial was helpful. Stay tuned for the next tutorial. Thank you so much.